We're going to continue immediately. Now, what I'm sharing in the screen is the topic of today. The topic of today, I want us to look at video ports and cables, video ports and cables. Now, if you have a laptop at home, if you have a computer at home, now I want you to unmute Mweni and talk. I want you to unmute and say present. Unmute your microphone. Unmute. There, the young man. Minutes. Remember, we shall have time for video and for discussion. Yes, let's continue. Welcome, welcome. Have you joined us now? Asia, can you hear me? Yes, good. Yes, we are going to study the two of us. The others, maybe they have a challenge, they will join us soon. Now, I shared to you a complete module, a complete notes for these principles of computer support. Now, if you have a computer at home, you need to go through it and check behind the computer. You need to go through it and check behind the computer, and you'll be able to identify what we are studying today. I want us to look at video ports and cables. Now, from your own understanding, what is the work of a port? What is the work of a port? From your own understanding, what is the work of a port? P-O-R-T, port. I want you to talk. I want us to make this class more interesting. What is the work of a port? Welcome, Abdi. Yeah, what is the work of a port? And this Basia is typing. Maybe someone else can unmute his microphone and talk. Yes, a port connects a component into the system unit via cables. Good. Now, let's look at a port. Now, video port connects a monitor to a computer using a cable. Video port connects a monitor to a computer port using a cable. Now, video ports and monitor cables transfer analog signals. If you look at your monitor, I'm talking about PC, you find behind the system unit, there is a port. And this monitor that's what we call the VGA port. Many of you know the VGA port. The VGA port is the one that connects the monitor with the system unit, And that is why we are saying a video port connects a monitor using a cable. Video port and monitor cables transfer analog signals, digital signals, or both. Now, you find computers are digital devices. That create digital signal. Computers are digital devices that create digital signal. Now, what is a digital signal? Maybe someone can tell us. We have analog and digital signal. How can you distinguish between an analog and a digital signal? How can you distinguish between an analog and a digital signal? Yes, I want to see all of you typing. How can you distinguish between analog and digital signal? How can you distinguish between analog and digital signal? Mweni, I want to see you typing if you cannot talk. Digital signal, yes, is discrete in nature, where analog is continuous in nature. Good. Abdi, I can see you are typing. Type. Yeah, I marked your cat. I marked your cat. I don't know whether you are able to see your marks. Were you able to see your marks for the cats? Were you able to see your marks? Yes, now you need to be getting ready for cat 2 and again for cat 1. Again, don't forget about the Huawei training. I'm still working. Once things will be okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So there is a lot happening. Good. We have seen analog signal are discrete and discontinuous, while analog signals are continuous, but digital signals are discrete and discontinuous. Now, digital signals are sent to the graphic card, where they are transmitted through the cable to a digital display. Note this: the digital signal are sent to the graphic card, where they are transmitted through the cable to the digital display. Digital signal can be converted to analog by graphic card and transferred to an analog display. So you're trying to see how the communications happen between the monitor is used to display, and the graphic card. You see, the digital signals are sent to the graphic card, where they are transmitted through the cable to a digital display. So whatever you see in the cable, it is a digital display. A display and monitor cable that supports digital signal will provide higher image quality than those supporting analog signal. For example, you find an LCD screen have a better quality than a CRT screen. Why? It supports digital image. Now, there are several video ports and connector types. Number one, we have digital visual interface, DVI. Digital visual interface, DVI. The DVI connector is usually white and consists of 24 pins. 24 pins. If you look at the back of your, if you have a system unit, you should be able to see the DVI connector. It has 24 pins for analog signal and a flat pin called ground bar. Specifically, DVI handles digital signal only, while DVIA handles only analog signal. Now, DVI uses a dual link interface, which creates two groups of data channels that can carry more than 10 GPS of data of digital video information. Now, we're looking at different types of video ports. These notes, you need to go through them. Also check on the YouTube. You should be able to see all this. Now, display port connector. One of these days, I'll try to create a Zoom where you can see I have a machine here where we shall go through each and every part as you see what I'm doing. That is what I've planned. Before we conclude this course, we should be able at least to do 2 or 3 practicals. Now, we have mini display port. Now we have this display port connector. I'll show you these images of these things. Then we have the mini display port. Now, then we have HDMI. I know many of you know HDMI. Who can tell us what does HDMI stand for? HDMI. If someone asks you, does your computer has a HDMI port? What are you going to answer him? Or how will you know that your computer has a HDMI port? How will you know that your computer has a HDMI port? Good. I can see someone typing. I can see some answers. Yes. Yeah, high definition multimedia interface. High definition multimedia interface. Now, this was developed for high definition TVs, televisions. It was developed for high definition TV. However, its digital feature also make it a good candidate for computer. However, its digital feature makes it good candidate for computers. There are common types of HDMI. We have two types of HDMI. Number one, we have full-size HDMI, also called type A cable. Is a standard cable used to connect audio and video devices. I don't have a HDMI cable, but maybe you have it at home. You need to see it. Then we have the mini HDMI, also called the type C. Is used to connect laptops and portable devices such as tablets. For example, you want to connect your phone and your laptop. You want to access images. Use a type C HDMI. We call it the mini HDMI. But you want to connect your laptop with a projector. You use the type A or the full-size HDMI. Now, instead of using the VGA cable to connect your laptop with a projector, nowadays you use a HDMI cable. Then we have another called Thunderbolt. We have 1 and 2. Use the mini display port MDP adapter. Well, Thunderbolt 3 requires a USB connector. We have the VGA connector, very common. The VGA, these are connector for analog video. It has 3 rows and 15 pins. It is also sometimes referred to as the DE15 or HD15 connector. Then we have the RCA connector. Remember these notes, you have to go through them. You have to read them. Check on the Google, check on the YouTube, check on the tutorials and see these things. When it comes to virtual learning, you see we are limited, especially the practical units. Now, we have the BNC connector, RCA connectors, and the wireless connectors. And now it's where we are heading to. You find everything has become wireless. If you need to connect your mouse, you don't need a cable, you have a wireless mouse. Now, typically, we want to look at these different types of port. We have the Dvi port. If you look at here, this is a Dvi port. I don't know how many have seen it. Not very common in most of the computers. These are display ports. And it's a HDMI port. This one, you can see it here. This is a HDMI port. Remember, a port, when you talk about port, we talk about female port and male port. Female ports and male ports. You find male port has pins. Male port has pins and female port has holes or the slots. Now, for you to connect a female port and a male port, you have to take the pins and insert in the holes that you see in the port. For example, to connect this is a male port, the one that I'm drawing here. For you to connect this male port, you fix it here. For you to connect this male port, you fix it here. And again, remember, we don't force things here. For example, you're trying to connect a male port to a female port, and you find it's not going through. Don't force. What do? Maybe you might damage the ports. You might damage your ports. We have different types of ports. You can see them here. Different types of ports. You need to go through those images. Then we have other ports and cables. We have input-output ports. We have input-output ports. Input-output ports on a computer connect peripheral devices. Input-output port on a computer connect peripheral devices such as printers, scanners, and portable devices, input-output port on the computer, connect peripheral devices such as printers, scanners, and portable devices. In addition, other ports and interfaces, you will see them. You have Ps2 port. Who can tell us Ps2 port? What does it stand for? Ps2 port. Ps2. Or what does the Ps2 port connect? Welcome, Ian. I want someone to tell us. Yes, Basia, I can see you are typing good. Ps2 ports. Now, Ps2 port connect a keyboard and a mouse to a computer. Ps2 port connect a keyboard and a mouse to a computer. Nowadays, they're becoming obsolete, but before they were very common. You find the PS2 is a 6-pin mini port. You find it before. Nowadays we are connecting almost everything using the USB cable. But you find before, for you to connect a mouse, there was a PS2 port for mouse. For you to connect a keyboard, there was a PS2 port for keyboard. Now we have audio ports. Audio port. This one I know them, you know them very well. For example, what we are using now, where you have connected your headphones. Maybe if you are using your laptop, that's an audio port. Now, audio port connects audio devices to the computer. Now, analog ports typically include a line-in port to connect an external source, e.g., a stereo system, a microphone port, a line output port, connects speakers and headphones. This one I know. Digital input and output ports are also available to connect digital sources and output devices. These connectors and cables transfer pulses of light over fiber optic cables. Then we have the game ports. We have the Ethernet port, very common. Now, what is the other name of an Ethernet port? What do we call it? What is the other name of an Ethernet port? What is the other name of an Ethernet port? What is another name of? I can see. Run. Good. We also call it. Let me type here. RJ-45. RJ-45 port. Because you remember when we terminate the Ethernet cable, let me see whether I'll get an image of RJ45 connector. Let me see. Just a minute. I'll get 2 images and show you. A minute. Don't quit. I'm trying to check something that can help you. Yes, I've seen it here. I'll share this. Hope I'll not disorganize my work. Let me share this window, please. Let me share. I'm sharing. I hope I've not disorganized the notes. I hope it works. Internet has been a challenge at times. It's strong. I wanted to share with you so that you know what is an Ethernet port, what is a Cat6 cable, and how do you terminate a cable, and where do you connect this Ethernet port. That is what I wanted to show you, that you are able to see it. In the meantime, maybe how many of you know how to terminate an Ethernet cable? How many of you know how to terminate an Ethernet cable? And again, we agreed, by the way, you need to create time and request for at least, even if it's an hour, for a makeup class. We can share a video of installation, a simple video of repairs and maintenance, and you will be able to run something. Don't keep quiet the whole week. Don't keep quiet the whole week. I'm waiting for my able to share. Sorry, last week we did a video. You should be able to check it. Again, I have a concern. Many of you are not doing the assignment. They are not doing the quizzes. As it erodes, let me give you the schedule for the e-learning. I don't know whether it was shared with you. That is what is expected of you. You're going to do 80 minutes of video conferencing. Again, we're going to do 50 minutes of discussion, and we are going to do 30 minutes of library time. Remember, I was here by 2. It's only me and Basia who are in. The rest of you have joined late. So at least try to attend class on time. If it's by 2, try to be there by 2. Latest maybe 2:10, so that we are able to catch up. Now, it's not sharing my screen. But again, as we continue looking at these cables, I'll continue. You will try to see them later on. Let me share the notes. I hope it will not disappoint me. Yes. Now, let's continue. You will try to see them at home. We're talking about Ethernet cable. Ethernet cable has 8 wires. It has 8 wires. And these 8 wires, they are twisted into two. And for you to terminate, you need to know the color code of the Ethernet cable. Then you link them, you connect these cables using an RJ45 connector. This RJ45 connector is what you connect in your system unit. This RJ45 connector is what you connect in your system unit. Then we have the USB port and cables. USB stands for, can type. USB stands for, I need to see you typing. USB stands for, type. Yes, universal serial bus. Good. Just love the way you guys, you are aggressive. Universal serial bus. Now, the USB is a standard interface that connects peripheral devices to a computer. What are peripheral devices that connect? You can type, what are peripheral devices? Someone tell us, what are peripheral devices? What are peripheral devices? Yes. Peripheral devices, they are ports that are connected. Yes, these are devices that are connected to the system unit. For example, a printer is a peripheral device. Whatever, what do we call it? USB is a peripheral device. A keyboard, a mouse is a peripheral device. Yes, input-output devices, all of them are peripheral devices. Anything that connects to a system unit is a peripheral device. And that is why we are saying USB is a standard interface that connects peripheral devices to a computer. Now, USB devices are hot swappable, which means that user can connect and disconnect them while the computer is still powered on. You find before when you are using the PS2, if you connect a PS2 for mouse, then you remove it, you have to restart your machine again. You have to restart your machine again. Now we are saying USB devices are hot swappable, which means that the user can connect and disconnect them and connect the devices while the computer is still powered on. USB devices connection can be found on computers, cameras, printers, scanners, storage devices, and many other electronic devices. A USB hub connects multiple USB devices. A USB port in a computer can support up to 27 separate devices with the use of multiple USB hubs. Some devices can also be powered through the USB port, eliminating the need for an external power source. Have USB 1.1, we have firewire ports and cables. These are also some high-speed hot swappable devices that you can remember. The word hot swappable means you can remove the cable when the computer is still on. You need to note that they connect peripheral devices to a computer. A single firewire port in a computer can support up to 63 devices. You have seen whereby one USB cable has so many wires, can support so many wires. You find you can even charge your phone. It has the one cable. How many have ever seen a firewire port cable? I don't know whether you are trying to understand what I'm trying to explain. Ni USB moja ukiconnect, but it has so many wires that connect multiple peripheral devices. Multiple peripheral devices. Then we have SATA data cables. Now, SATA, when you hear SATA, what comes into your mind? The hard disk. What is the meaning of that SATA? SATA. Can you type the meaning of that SATA? Can you type the meaning of the word SATA? I am waiting for you. What is the meaning of the word SATA? Are we together? Am I lost? Is my network okay? Can you hear me? I'm waiting for you. Yes. Yes, we call it serial AT attachment. Serial AT attachment or serial attachment. Now, SATA cables connect SATA devices to the SATA interface using a 7-pin data cable. This cable does not supply any power to the SATA device. A separate power cable provides power to the disk. That's one thing you need to know. And this, you find them in mostly the hard disk. I'll share with you how it looks like. Then here we have other ports. This is what I was telling you, the Ps2 port for mouse and for the keyboard. This one that I'm highlighting here. These are the Ps2 ports for keyboard and for the mouse. Then these are the main ports. You fix them here. Then here are some of the audio ports. Then remember what we have said, the SATA cable does not supply power, but it is supplied power also. There is a port for another cable. Now, let me show you an image of a SATA cable before we look at adapters and converters. I'll share some with you. Maybe as I share with you those two diagrams that I want to share with you, maybe you can distinguish for me distinguish between an adapter and a converter. Adapter and a converter. Distinguish that. Around 2-3 minutes. Distinguish that. Then I share with you some images that I want to share with you here. Do that. Adapter and a converter. Now I want to share something with you here. Just be patient. Good. I want to share this diagram so that we can look at different images that I want to show you. Yes, I want to share something here. Very good. If you see what I have in your screen, this is a system unit. This is a system unit, and this is a back of a system unit. I hope you can see. Can you see? Can you see what I'm sharing on the screen? Yes, welcome, Isaac. Can you see what I'm sharing? Yes. Welcome, Sifuna. Remember, we are looking at different ports and connectors that you can find behind your system unit. And whatever I'm sharing is an image of a system unit. We have looked at all these ports. If you look here, this is a Ps2 port for mouse, the one that is green. Then we have the other one, purple, Ps2 port for keyboard. Remember we said this port, what happens to them? For this port, anytime you disconnect, you have to restart your computer. Then we have USB port, universal serial bus, which are the most common. And with USB port, what you do with the USB, you don't have to restart the machine. You don't have to restart the machine again. You can remove, you can add a device still where your computer is on. You can add still when your computer is on. So you need to note that. You need to note that. Then again, as you see, we have the Ethernet port. Ethernet port. Let me come up here. This is what I'm calling RJ45 connector. This is RJ45 connector. If you look, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pins. And you look at the wires, if you look, we have 1, each has 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These 8 wires go to this 8 pin. We create an Ethernet port. We use an Ethernet port when we are creating a local area network, RAN. So when you hear someone terminating a cable, this is what you are doing. You have to follow these codes, color codes, that you're able now to connect to this RJ45 connector. And this RJ45 connector is what you connect in an Ethernet port. Here, is what you connect in an Ethernet port. If you're using your laptop, you should be able to see your Ethernet port. Then we have the serial port. Then we have the LTP printer port. There are printers that take this type of ports. Then we have the VGA port. The VGA port, you connect the monitor and the system unit. Then we have the port for speakers. We have the port for microphone. We have the port for the game port. I don't know whether I can get an image with the HDMI port. Let me see. Just a minute, I'll share these notes with you. Yeah, whatever you are seeing now there, you see there with the HDMI. And again, before I forget, I'll share with you symbols for different ports. Different ports have different symbols. So this is a HDMI cable that you connect to the HDMI port. Let's look at different symbols. Just a minute, we see whether we can get one. Just a minute, I'm trying to look for something. Mhm. Yes, I'm trying to look up for them. But I know these are things that you can do a research at home and you find them. Now, at least you have seen the HDMI, you have seen different ports. We have the game ports, we have the speaker port, we have the microphone port. This is a Ethernet cable, and they are classified in category 5, 6. Now, this is the SATA. If you look, this is a hard disk. Remember we said the SATA doesn't provide power. Actually, it facilitates only data transfer. What is the work of a hard disk? The hard disk is to store data. data that is already processed to store for future reference. And this is the power port for the hard disk. Then these are the different type of SATA. You connect here using connectors, SATA connectors. Later on, we shall look at different types of SATA connectors. Good, I can see many of you are attending. Good, that's good attendance. Now, for the purpose of identification, I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your voice as I take the attendance before we continue. As I take the attendance before we continue. I'll take the attendance before we continue. So if you hear your name, just say present. Just a minute. Now, let's take attendance. Isaac Ado. Isaac Ado, present, absent. Basie.
Present.
Yes, good. Michael Brown, Michael Brown, is it Brown or Brian? Michael Brian. Otieno Brian. Sifuna. Sifuna.
Present.
Yes. Wataka Joyfrey. Wataka Joyfrey. Captain George. Buddha James. Mercy Jemtai. John Karani. All these students. Do you talk to your colleagues? Basie. What is happening to your class?
Some have said they have not paid school fees.
Oh, that's why they have been dropped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, William, I'm present.
Who is this?
Muhammad. It's Muhammad.
We're now unmuted.
Sifuna, are you present?
Umesema aje?
Are you present?
We're now unmuted.
Where is the lecturer?
I am here.
Are you the lecturer?
Yes.
Then teach us.
It's not.
Eh?
It's me. It's not.
Why can you be a lecturer then?
Lakini majama.
Yeah.
Yung school fees ni ukweli.
Eh?
Are we together? Let me call the attendance. We have the other person, Korir Mathio. Korir. Mathio Korir. Masai Mueni. Ian Muri. Mohammed Abdiamin.
Yes, present.
Yes, Zabron Mwenya. Abigail Nabulu. Husband. Peter Otieno. Hanstas. And Warogoro Wanjiko. Okay, I've taken the attendance. Let's continue with the study. Yes, we can continue. Sorry. Yes, let's continue. Let's continue. We are looking now. We want to look at adapters and connectors. I hope you are still together. Buttons, adapters. Now, there are many connection standards in use today. Many are interoperable but require specialized components. These components are called adapters and converters. An adapter. These are components that physically connect one technology to another. These are components that physically connect one technology to another. For example, a Dvi Hdmi adapter. The adapter could be one component or cable with different ends. What is a converter? This performs the same function of an adapter, but also translates the signal from one technology to another. For example, USB to SATA converters. There are many types of adapters and converters available. For example, we have the Dvi to HDMI adapter, Dvi to VGA adapter, USB-A to USB adapter, USB to Ethernet adapter, USB to PS2 adapter, HDMI to VGA converter. We have Data port to DVI converter. All these things, you should be able to see them. We have DVI to VGA connector. This one here. We have USB to Ethernet adapter. You find this is an Ethernet port, but this is an USB port. Then we have USB to PS2 adapter. It's here. Whereby you connect a USB here, but at the end, it is a PS2, either for mouse or keyboard, either for mouse or for the keyboard. Just to remind you, next week shall be doing Cat 2. Next week shall be doing Cat 2. So keep on revising. Keep on revising. Are you aware of that? Can we interact? Are you aware of that? What do we call next week but one? Next week but one, sorry. We'll be doing Cat 2. Either week, let me give you the tentative dates so that you start revising. Each week here from Monday 6, from 6 to 10 there. 6 to 10 there, we have a cut. Again, I marked your cuts. Anyone who didn't do a makeup, anyone who did not do the cut and did not do the makeup, anyone? Anyone who did not do the cut and again did not do the makeup? Let me know. And who is this? What you didn't say present? Mean mekuweka absent. She didn't talk. Why didn't you talk? I said you confirm. Let me check again. Okay, I've corrected that. I've corrected that. Let me check whether, yeah, I have the correct list. Just a minute. In the meantime, I want to guide you on what we are going to do. Good. Now, remember what I said, we have different activities that I want us to do. How many of you know how to do a discussion using the portal? I want to show you how to do a discussion. How many of you know how to do a discussion using a portal? Because many of you have not been doing the discussion. I want to show you how to do it. Can you type if you know yes, if you don't know no? I see a nose. The others, I'm waiting for you. I want to show you. Don't touch here. You got shock. No. Yes, good. Now, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do. For our lesson today, we are doing the video. The next thing I want us to do a discussion. And this discussion, we shall do it at least, right now it's 3:36. We have 1 hour, 30 minutes. We're going to do it for 50 minutes, discussion, note that, discussion. Then there is a quiz. Quiz is going to take 20 minutes. I'll mark the quiz immediately. Then we are going to meet again at 4:30. At 4:30. Then at 4:30, I'm going to share your marks. I have written a discussion forum there about different video ports and cables that we have covered. So you're going to discuss. If you say USB port, explain Then I'll get back to you and tell you whether you have answered correct or not. Then you go to the other, and you go to the other one. We have to make this discussion more lively. Then again, I'll post a cut immediately. You do that cut immediately. So right now, I want us to engage in a thorough discussion of what we have covered. Is it okay?
You are now unmuted.
Yes,
cut?
you're going to. Okay, I've shared that discussion in our topic today. Our topic today, we are looking at video ports and cables. That is where our discussion is. Let's go there, use your books, use internet to do research, then you post it back. Then you do the cut. Then immediately by 4:30, I'll go back to the big blue button. You should be able to meet and conclude. Okay, please, we are 5 of us. I need to see 5 submissions for the cuts, and I need to see 5 discussions. Thank you. We are meeting after this.
You are now unmuted.
Lecturer, what is this cut?
You are currently the only person in this conference.